Welcome my dear students. This is Mohammed Sultanaki, Senior Lecturer of Master College, Department of Biology. Today I will discuss chapter 1. The name of this chapter is cell and its structure. My today's topic is cell membrane. From my today's lecture you will be able to learn definition of cell membrane, unit membrane, fluid mosaic model and the function of cell membrane. Now the definition of cell membrane. What is cell membrane? A thin living semi-elastic semi-permeable membrane which is present inside the cell wall and that surrounds the protoplasm of a cell is called cell membrane or biomembrane. Now the structure of cell membrane. In case of the structure of cell membrane, there are two protein layers at the outside and there is a lipid layer at the innermost side. This is known as unit membrane. So what is the definition of unit membrane? The membrane that consists of protein, lipid and protein is called unit membrane. There are different hypotheses regarding the structure of cell membrane. Different scientists put forward their hypotheses regarding the structure of cell membrane. Among these, fluid mosaic model is mostly accepted, and this was given by Singer and Nicholson. According to their hypothesis, the cell membrane is comprised of four components. One is lipid bilayer, membrane protein, glycocalyx, cholesterol. Now, my dear students, at first I will draw the diagram of a fluid mosaic model. Then I will explain the structure. Now, you can follow me right now how to draw the diagram so easily. Okay. First of all, you will draw three pairs of lines. Three pairs of lines like this. The gap in between the first two lines will be larger than the middle one. Okay, the gap of the middle layer will be less, and the gap in between this layer and this layer should be similar, because in between these two layers we'll draw the phosphate head. So first of all, you draw like this. This is the protein layer. You can erase all those dots that are seen. Okay, now in the middle place you will draw the integral protein in this middle place. Then you will draw more phosphate heads. Okay. Then you draw another protein molecule that remain present on the surface of this cell membrane. Okay. There are three protein molecules, that is lipid binding protein molecule, integral protein molecule and the peripheral protein molecule. Now, the lowermost layer. Then, you will also draw some cholesterol that remain present in between these phosphate and lipid head. Okay, you can make a shade, then you can reduce the dots, and again draw the phosphate heads Okay, then again you can draw another cholesterol molecule over here. Over here I'm drawing another cholesterol molecule and the phosphate heads. Try to maintain a thing that should be a similar line. The merging should be similar of the upper and the lower layer. Okay, so these are the phosphate heads. Now, what are the function of this layer? It is nothing, just it indicates the distance that up to what you have to extend the lipid tails. Then you will draw the diagram of lipid tails. You can extend it up to this layer. Okay. This way we will draw the diagram of phosphate head and lipid tails. Okay. Now, my dear students, you can see that I have drawn the diagram of phosphate and lipid, that means phospholipid bilayers. Here is one layer and there is another layer. Then membrane protein, 1, 2, 3 protein. Now, and cholesterol molecule. So, what is action now? Glycocalyx. Now I will draw the diagram of glycocalyx. Glycocalyx. Now I would like to draw the, I will label the diagram now. What you have drawn, that is fluid mosaic model. Mosaic model. This is the figure. Okay. Now, first of all, you can label these two layers, that is phospholipid layer. Phospholipid bilayer. Okay. And now this is peripheral protein. This is integral protein. Now there is another protein molecule that is present here, that is, it is known as a globular protein or lipid bind protein. You can write whatever you want. Now you can see there are two carbohydrate molecules. Actually, these two chain indicates two carbohydrate molecules. These two chain indicate that, so the carbohydrate that remain present with the protein molecule is known as glycoprotein. And the carbohydrate molecule that remain present, short chain that remain present with the lipid, that is known as glycolipid. So my dear students, what is remaining? That is cholesterol. Okay. So So this is the diagram of a cell membrane. According to the structure that is given by, or the hypothesis that is given by Singer and Nicholson, the fluid mosaic model has 4 components. I am describing the structure of fluid mosaic model now. First of all, lipid bilayer. You can see that here is phospholipid bilayer. Okay. There are 2 phospholipid bilayer. One is here and another one is here. Okay. You can see that in the phospholipid layer there is a phosphate head and 2 lipid tails. These are non-polar lipid tails and this is the polar head. You can also see that the polar heads that remain opposite to each other. They are present at quite opposite to each other, but the lipid tails remain face to face. So, how many layers are present? 1 and 2. There are 2 phospholipid bilayer. Now, you can write in this way. The first point, lipid bilayer. There are 2 phospholipid bilayer present in the cell membrane, which consist of phosphate and lipid. There is a phosphate head and 2 lipid tails. You can also give that information that this is no polar phosphate head and these are non-polar. Then second point, membrane protein. You can see there are 3 protein molecules, or 3 types of protein molecules are present in the structure of cell membrane. First of all, lipid bind or combined protein. You can write whatever you want. You can lipid combined protein. Then here the protein molecule that remain present in the core of lipid layer. The protein molecule that remain present in the core of lipid layer, it is called lipid bind protein. Another protein molecule that you can see, this protein molecule, it extends from one layer to another. So the protein molecule that remain in between 2 layers, or which extend in between two layers, that is called integral protein. Now, what is peripheral protein? The protein molecule that is present on the surface of the cell membrane is called, or the lipid layer, that is called peripheral protein. Now, glycocalyx. I have told you when I was drawing the diagram that there are different carbohydrate chains that remain present along with the cell membrane. These carbohydrate molecules, when they remain attached with the lipid layer, it is called glycolipid, and when they remain attached with the protein molecule, that is called glycoprotein. These 2 components combined known as glycocalyx. Next point, cholesterol. You can you should know one information more, that is the glycocalyx also indicates the outer surface of the cell, because of the inner surface of the cell there will be no glycoprotein or glycolipid. It indicates the inner side and the outer side of the cell membrane. So this is the outer side of the, or outer surface of the cell membrane. Now, last point is cholesterol. You can see there are different types of cholesterol molecule that scatteredly present in between the lipid layers. Now, from the research, it is found that the structure of cell membrane is not solid, rather than it is it remains in a semi-fluid condition. This protein, the lipid layers, phospholipid layers, the components of these phospholipid layers, it is found that there is an internal motion among themselves. So it moves in this way. It appears like a fluid. Okay. For these types of movement is called flip-flop movement, and for this reason, this model is known as fluid. It is termed as fluid. Okay, fluid mosaic. And now, why it is called mosaic model? The pattern or the arrangement of the components in this model, it appears like mosaic. It appears like mosaic. So from this information, we can say that this is a fluid mosaic model. Now the function of cell membrane. Cell membrane is a protective layer that surrounds the inner parts of, or different parts of, cell. So it is a protective covering around the cell. Number 2, it determines the shape of a cell. Number 3, cell membrane controls the movement of different substances that can pass through inside the cell or outside the cell. So control the movement of different molecules in and outside of the cell. Next point, it also acts as a stimulation receiving layer. So the source of expressing different responses of the cell. So this is another function of the cell membrane, and the last function of cell membrane, that is the plasma membrane or the cell membrane, is self-sealing its own. Okay, so these all are the function of cell membrane. You can add more points to get better marks, and here I have discussed only 5 points. When it is for 3, 4, then you have to add more points with this. So my dear students, today I have discussed the cell membrane, unit membrane, fluid mosaic structure, fluid mosaic model, and finally the structure of the function of cell membrane. So it's all for today. In my next class, I will be back with a new lesson. Till then, take care.